Welcome to PT Tips with Guests. My guest Bimpe is the course leader for the AMI 3 to 6 Montessori Orientation Assistant course. Please welcome her to the show. Hello, Bimpe. It's so good to have you here. I'm so happy to have you. Part of the reason why I brought you, and I would like us to also have some other, because I'm sure after today's session, we're going to start getting a lot of questions. So we might have to have another one to sit down and answer people's questions, because one of the most common questions I get asked is people wanting to know, how can I do a Montessori training? What is Montessori? Tell us about the method and everything. So I thought it's amazing to have you here to just talk about everything as much as we can within the time that we have. And then we can have follow-up videos afterwards.
Look, that's brilliant. I'm very happy to be able to do this. For me, it's like everybody should have it. Everybody should have this Montessori training. Be you a parent with children, or someone that's thinking of a career change, a grandparent. I mean, it's such an amazing way to help children in their natural development. So I'm all for it. Yeah.
Brilliant. So can you tell us how your Montessori journey started? How did it begin for you? I know it's been many years ago.
Come on, Meme, I'm not that old. Come on. Anyway, how did the journey begin? Well, I would say it began at about 2003, and actually, it may have begun maybe about 2002, 2003, yeah. And I would say it began in the church. I was part of a church in Lagos, in Nigeria, where I worked with different age groups. You know, I would be with children while their parents would be in church listening to the message. So I worked with babies, and then we broke up the classes into babies to about 1, then 2 to 3 year olds, then 4 to 6 year olds. I worked with all of them. And at a point, I actually worked with teenagers and all, and I really enjoyed it. For me, it just happened naturally. I just thought, oh, this is such a great time to be with the children. Maybe because I didn't have to take them home and all, but it was really beautiful, and strange enough, that was where my husband saw me for the first time. I was working in church with the children, so he recalled how he would be walking to church and I would see this woman with so many children there. Anyway, after we got married and we had our children, I started getting bored with my job. I was working as an administrator and personal assistant to a Nigerian person, I found the job so predictable. I wanted a challenge. I wanted something different, I wanted something I could say I was in charge of by myself, but it wasn't coming through my job. So I decided to start researching an MBA, because I was thinking, okay, there I was a chartered secretary and administrator. I said, okay, maybe I should think about running a business like that, offering my services to companies, or to get the grounding of a master's in business administration. So I did do some research, and I actually, it was in the process of researching this that I had a discussion with my husband about, look, I'm so bored with my job. And my husband said, look, he felt I was happy when I used to work in church with the children. And so why don't you go and look for something in childcare? And okay, as the obedient wife I started researching that as well. As I was doing the research for my master's, I would go to the British Council, research and everything. And that's how I came across the Maria Montessori Training Organization. And it happened to be in Hampstead, in London. And I started communicating with them. I read a bit about their the pedagogy and everything. And I really wanted to know more because I was thinking, yeah, right, you know. Anyway,
Is
one of
this
our
really
holidays,
possible?
yeah. So one of our holidays in London, I decided to just pass by the building. This was without appointments and everything. You know how we do things in Nigeria now. Yeah, I just entered, and they were like, "Oh, we're on holiday now. There are no students here." And the person I met that day, I will never forget, is someone called Jesserin Hall. She's their public liaison officer, and she then told me that, look, we have. She told me that they had an alumni in Lagos, in Nigeria, where I live, that I should go and observe the school and see if I would be interested. Okay, I got in touch with the lady. She invited me to come and observe one morning. And, prior to then, I had my own ideas of the abilities of children, what I felt they could do, what I felt they had the ability to do or not. So anyway, I went to this woman's school, and I think at that point, my son must have been about a year, my daughter must have been about 2.5, 3, And so I went into this class. She said I should sit down and just watch the children. And I honestly had to hold myself down because you'd see these little things going to the shelf, picking stuff up, work to the table, work with it, put it back. And I was just like, what's going on here? And for me, that was where I got hooked. That was a hook for me. Because honestly, I couldn't believe that young children could be so independent, could be so focused on their work. And I just couldn't believe it. So for me, it was like, no, I have to get this for my children, I have to do this. Because honestly, my first thought was, what have I done to my own children? So I was surprised that what I'd read about so far till then, actually, I was seeing it in that class. So before you knew it, I mean, obviously, I resigned my job and I registered well, rather, it was the other way around. I registered for the course. I knew I was going to start September 2004, and that was it. I haven't looked back since then. So I registered for the 3 to 6 diploma course. Yeah, full time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. You're a trainer now though, like from working as so when you finished your training, how many schools like have you worked in, and what have you enjoyed about the journey so far before, and what led you to now finally decide that, okay, I want to become a trainer?
Well, maybe I'll be very honest with you. When I went um, I went for the diploma, the idea wasn't to become a trainer. No, not at all. The plan was like, okay, study, do this thing, then come back to Nigeria. I honestly felt, okay, my children, I wanted them to benefit from it. But also, I just felt, no, this is something we should have in Nigeria. How come we don't have so many Montessori schools in Nigeria and everything? So it wasn't as though I went in with the idea of becoming a trainer. But what happened was, there's this thing about Montessori, and I must warn you about it. You get into one area, and before you know it, you want to know more. So before, because I enrolled for the 3 to 6 diploma for, it was an academic year course, which ran from September to June. Before that course ended, they said they were going to hold a 0 to 3 diploma course. I jumped in. It was going to be over 2 years. I jumped in. So I enrolled myself for that because I just thought, no, I want to know what happens to these children before they come and join us in the children's house. So I did that. But in the meantime, I was working part-time at a Montessori school, a beautiful school in Bournemouth there. So I was working part-time there. And as crazy as I was working part time there, but I also was doing this post diploma observation course with a wonderful, wise woman, one woman called Mrs. Patel, and I was doing that as well. So I was doing that, and you know how life turns out sometimes. My husband had then come in for his master's in Sterling, and we saw that the children were quite settled. We were looking back at home, things were getting a bit different and all. My children were settling into the system. So we said, okay, let's just wait a few more years, get more experience, and then go back. Meme, this is like, what year are we in now? Let's just say that, yeah, I'm still here. Anyway, so I did the 0 to 3 diploma course. It was fantastic. As time went by, they offered the 6 to 12 diploma course. This was over 3 summers. Again, I put my head into it, and man, that one was, I found it really, really tough, but it was so enriching. So I had from birth to 12, the training and all. But you know what? I've always loved the 3 to 6 level. So at a certain point, I started helping on our diploma evening course at the training center in London. I would come in, I would be supervising students, I would be reading their coursework and everything. So I was helping on that course, and I started getting more and more engrossed in helping adults know more about Montessori. Um, then in the midst of this, I was working also part time in different Montessori schools. I would say that I've worked in 3 different Montessori schools in the UK. Sometimes 3 years, 4 years, and everything. But then at the point in time, I just thought, you know what? I think I would love to become a trainer. I just thought that through. I think probably because by this time my children were like secondary school. You can imagine the tiny tots I brought over at about a year and a half, 4, 5-ish. They're already in secondary school. How would you go and fit them back in Nigeria? And obviously, the sad thing about Nigeria is like if you want a very good level of education for your children, you will pay. I
Mm.
didn't have that kind of income. So for me, it was easier to be here. So we settled here, and the training institute invited me to be a teacher in one of their schools, their flagship school in Hampstead, and I worked there for 4 years.
Mm.
And in 2018, I joined the training team on a full-time basis to do my training of trainers course, which I still am on. So I'm now an auxiliary trainer. It's been a lot of hard work, but yeah, that's where I am now, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it's you work with children, you're amazed at the change you see in them. But then you work with the adults and you realize these adults are just like children. And it's amazing to see what they are like at the end of a course and compare it to what they were like when they came in. So it's really been a privilege, I would say.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Can you tell us a bit more about the training that you are organizing?
Yes, I would love to tell you. First of all, I've always, like I said, I've always been on the train. I've been on the training team for many years now, but full time since 2018 in London. And because thankfully and thank God, I've been able to progress through the training program and all. I'm now at a position where I can run assistance courses in Nigeria. Like I said, my true love has been the 3 to 6 year olds. So I'm going to be running the second AMI 3 to 6 assistant certificate course in Lagos between the 9th and the 26th of August. I'm doing it during the summertime so that those who are having their holidays can join us as well. Um, I've always been really, really passionate about bringing Montessori, the real Montessori, to Nigeria at an authentic at a reasonable cost, because I know what I paid when I came over with my children, to live here. I had to think of my accommodation, I had to think of my feeding, I had to think of other bills that would come. I had to think of the tuition as well. So what we're doing um, is we're running this course at a price that is sensitive to what Nigerians um, are going through now.
Yeah.
We have a training center in Lagos, in Nigeria, the Montessori Study Center, and yeah, we're running I'm going to be running the assistance course in August. We're very lucky that one of the trainers that trained me, will also be running a diploma course, a 3 to 6 diploma course in Nigeria, in Lagos, Nigeria. She is insistent on doing it on face to face. I'm going to be doing mine over Zoom. It's an assistance course, but she's doing the diploma course. She's flying down to Nigeria to do it. It's starting at the end of August as well. So, as some of you may know about AMI has never been keen on online courses. This has been made necessary because of the COVID pandemic. AMI had to re-engineer its thinking and its courses so that they could still meet the needs of people with the um, pandemic, and also that's why it's happening that way. Like I said, it's going to be from the 9th of August till the 26th of August. It's going to be 14 days for the weekdays, and it's going to run from 9:30 a.m. to 1:45 each day. Yeah, I think it's going to be an amazing course. It's like I said, I don't know if it was while we were chatting before we got online, but honestly, it will be a course that will help the child understand the nature of the child aged between 3 to 6,
Yeah.
but not just understand, but also help you know how to support their natural development. It will be great for those who want to work as assistants in classes, for those who are parents of children and you want to say, oh, how can I support my child's development at home? Grandparents, and maybe like me as well, if you're thinking of a career change, this is the way you can come in to find out, oh, is this something that I might enjoy doing? So absolutely, it's going to be a fantastic course. And I think as well, I should warn people that it's not an easy course because it's a certificate course. It's challenging. There'll be assignments, there will be projects, there'll be practice to do. Even though we're online, we have ways of getting this done. And at the successful completion of it, you get an AMI international certificate with which you can work in any Montessori environment worldwide. So, like I said, I've had the privilege of leading this course at our training center in London, but I really can't wait to do the same in Nigeria, do the same, and hopefully more relevant to the Nigerian culture
Yeah,
as well. Yeah.
exactly. I'm so glad that this training is coming to Nigeria, honestly, because like I know how I felt sitting down there and listening to the things, like everything that I've shared, it's all that has been my foundation. I
Yeah.
remember reading the first book I ever read when I knew, okay, I worked in a school. Just out of curiosity, I worked in the school and I fell in love with it. And I'm like, I want to know more. And then I read this Maria Montessori, Her Life and Work by E.M. Standing.
Oh,
And same thing,
beautiful.
I was like, yeah, right, this happened, really, And so just attending the course, just sitting in the classrooms during the teaching practice and observations, I'm just like, what? How is this happening? You know?
Yeah.
And so it's really, really transformed my life and everything. So I would definitely recommend it to anybody. I think every parent,
Yeah.
Sunday school teachers, everyone who has any form of interaction with children needs to do it. You know, it's just such a good, you know, foundation for everyone.
I totally agree with you. I mean, my by the time we finally when we moved to the UK and everything, my child was already ready for primary school and everything. But my son, that's my older child, was ready for primary school, so she went straight into the system here. But my son got the opportunity to go to the children's house, and wow, I would say I'm proud of who my son is now, you know. So very cultured, well behaved, eloquent. That's what you find with Montessori children, you know, they're well behaved, confident, you know, confident to make decisions themselves, considerate. Because that's something we built in the children right from very young, you know. Consider, because it's a community with a mixed age group and everything. It's a community. The child learns from very young how to interact with those that are younger than them, those that are older than them, those that are their elders and everything. So it's a fantastic start to anybody's life.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much, Bimpe, for being here. Like I said, if people will start sending questions, so I'll just direct them to you. And
Not
I think
a problem.
Again, to answer like people's, you know, personal questions about their child and you know, things like that.
I would love that. I do enjoy working at the training center, but I know that the time I spent with children in class it was amazing. These children, they trust you. They trust what you say, at least between 3 and 6 years old. They trust you. And the kind of things that comes out of them, you can see the purity in them. And you just want to protect that and help it develop naturally. I really look forward to that in Nigeria. I really, really want it to happen in Nigeria. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for doing what you do as well. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. I'm very happy.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you so much for this avenue. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. I mean, I watch what you do online, and it's really encouraging. The more of us that do this kind of things, we're impacting lives. That's the way I see it, and we shouldn't get tired of doing it. Yeah. And just keep it up. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Bye.
Bye, darling.